Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Heal Yourself Naturally. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a nice little pause that we had with we have we have Sarah figuring out her blue light here today. We have Hava here today. We have Nicole here today. Thank you all for joining us again. Um, let's get straight to it because we have so much to discuss. We haven't spoken to you guys in quite some time. Today we'll be discussing kidney health and kidney diseases is one of the leading causes of death that we have nowadays. And a lot of people don't understand like how did my kidneys get this bad? And so we really want to cover everything that has to do with kidneys today, from the diseases that you can contract, from not treating your body properly, and also what you can do when those problems arise, what herbs you can take, lifestyle changes, et cetera, all the fun stuff we love to discuss with you guys. So I just want to start by talking about what is the job of the kidneys? What do they do? How do they function in our body? Let's go to Sarah first. Sarah, what's your definition of properly functioning kidneys? What do they do in our body? Um, Go for it.
Well, they are an excretory organ, right, Hava? And
Yes.
they actually help us. They are one of our main organs of elimination. So, what happens when we eat, food or whatever, or drink, the liver kind of decides where to send stuff. And when the liver can't deal with it, because the liver deals with fat soluble stuff that we eat or drink or whatever, um, it sends it to the kidney if it's water soluble. So it's usually sticks on a some kind of molecule and sends it off to the kidney, makes it water soluble so the kidneys can filter it out and get rid of it. So that's one of the main jobs of the kidney is to filter out toxins from the liquids that we eat, water soluble stuff, and then it excretes it. But the kidneys have a bunch of other jobs too. The kidneys, I don't want to get too in the weeds, but the kidneys also, um, they help with blood volume. So they talk to the bone marrow. Um, and they help with mineral balance and blood pressure. So, I mean, those are the main things that the kidneys do. So it's a major organ of elimination. Did
Yep.
did we leave? Did we lose Nicole?
Mm. No,
There
I'm
you
here.
are. Okay. She's saying she's so sorry, but we can't
I'm
hear
sorry, I had to move locations. I'm being bombarded today in my space. I have a lot of people around the house fixing things, and I thought I was safe outside, and I'm not. I had to go back inside. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for your definition of
you.
the kidney function. I was totally following along. Um, okay, so we know what they do in the body, right? Now, there's certain foods and drinks that we should avoid if we want our kidneys functioning properly. Name some of the things that we should avoid, Chava.
Well, there is a lot of things that can cause kidney troubles, and mainly, I would say, drinks, pharmaceuticals, our diet. They're all very crucial for kidneys health. And if we are not, as we know, most people are dehydrated. They are eating food that it's not good, and as well as drinking and taking lots of pharmaceuticals, even from simple medications as Tylenol and all other stuff that are kind of pain reducers. They can cause a lot of troubles, including I don't I don't know, maybe some not gonna like it, but some vaccines can cause a problem as well. So any toxicity basically that comes on and the I found the most people's problem that we see it's dehydration.
Right.
So let's say if you take once in a blue moon a little bit Tylenol here there, okay, the body will know what to do and will excrete this. But When we are not drinking enough and we are constant in a state of dehydration, this is when we irritate the whole entire system. This is when the body goes from alkaline to very acidic state, because the kidneys are the ones that regulate alkaline acidity. So once we get to the place where we are acidic, that's where disease kicks in. Or if we are very alkaline, also disease kicks in. Everything that's out of balance can cause us a lot of trouble. So I want people to remember that when you hear, I have a kidney problem, you should always think the first thing is dehydration. That's how I look at it, because most people are not drinking enough or drinking too much, causing too much problems when the kidneys barely can even filter and don't understand what's happening. Yeah, so if you want to go dive deep, exactly, that's we
Well,
can.
what are some of the things that, common people find in their diet that actually can have a long-term side effect to the kidneys? I know coffee can be one of them. You also mentioned, keeping the body in a certain pH level. So a lot of people think that alkaline water is good for you, whereas it can actually do some harm. What are some other things?
Um, well, yes, the alkaline water in some cases, right? In
Right.
some cases, it actually can balance it, but most people they have a problem with highly alkaline water. And then I would say simple things like cola, Sprite, alcohol. All these things are absolutely destroying our kidneys. And
Right.
simple things like stuff that we don't even think, but if we drink coffee 4, 5, 6 cups a day, we actually causing our kidneys to go into some sort of a shock. And the same thing comes into the taking drinking alcohol, like most people especially young I would say teenagers who are in the time of a college. You'll see the most children, not children, they are more youngster who are getting into the college. They're drinking a lot, and that's
Right.
where they are stumbling with a lot of problems, right? So
Right.
that's because they drink a lot of alcohol. And then on a daily basis, most people don't drink enough liquid, and they just pile up a lot of food, and then they drink water which is very carbonated, which is also another problem. Carbonated water can also irritate the kidneys. So simple things like those can cause irritation.
If I
Yeah.
can add
Well, on a
something too.
And
long-term
Sarah,
scale,
please add.
yeah, please add.
Well, besides dehydration, which is a huge one, and medications, including vaccines, um, we have to consider, food. So a lot of people will eat like fresh kale, spinach, anything with a high oxalate content can really stress out the kidneys. And so we want to consider how much of that is in someone's diet. And if someone's spitting out kidney stones every year, we're going to be asking, what are you eating on a regular basis? Is it uncooked kale, green leafy vegetables, collards, anything like that and even raw beets, a lot of these foods that have oxalate, a lot of oxalates in them they need heat, which basically neutralizes the oxalate, changes that molecule so it doesn't stress out the kidney.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a huge one, I think.
Yeah.
And want to consider also, someone who has recurring urinary tract infections, that's a big insult to the kidneys. If that infection gets up into the kidney, that's bad. So that can stress out. I know we're talking about foods and drinks and stuff, but that's a huge problem.
No, we're leading into that now. So
Right.
I want
Everything
people to have an
overall.
understanding. Yeah, first of like obviously lifestyle choices, whether you're a heavy coffee drinker, a heavy alcohol drinker, anything and everything that's done on an extreme amount will have an extreme effect on your body in the long term. Just wanted to get it out there so that people can understand the gravity of what you're doing to your body if you go down that path. So proper hydration obviously is a key factor in making sure that your kidneys can process all of the toxins that it's filtering. But like Hava said, do not overhydrate, right?
Right.
Um, and a lot of people, sadly, we talked about water briefly in one of our podcasts about proper water. I know that you, Sarah, you have, a nice water reserve near you. You get beautiful, clean water and you're able to drink from tap. A lot of the cities that people live in, they're not able to do that. So, what are some solutions, Chava, for water consumption if you are living in a city or you don't have good water sources out of your tap? What can you recommend?
Well, my favorite is a water distiller. That's how I absolutely love a distillation process because it removes all the inorganic minerals. And many people get upset when I say that because there is some sort of a misconception when people say, "Oh, actually, this water it bribes you from minerals." That's absolutely stupid to say that because the idea of the water is go in, hydrate the cells, and remove toxins out of the system. That's the basically the purpose of the water and most people don't understand that, but that's the water is doing. Pure distilled water is exactly on pH 7 that goes into the body and removes inorganic materials, all the inorganic minerals. And I'm actually dealing with a couple of very severe cases I have a specifically now one in arthritis case, a very severe one, which is uric acid. What is the uric acid? It's a buildup of a toxicity. And because of our lifestyle, that's when people start experiencing this buildup of this calcification. So, but we have the studies that show that if people drink steam distilled water every single day, I would say overall about 8 cups of water, they can rehydrate their cells and remove this uric acid that builds up in the bones. So that's why I would suggest the water is very, very important. And steam distillation is not inexpensive. You can get a distiller on Amazon for about like 150, 160, or even $200. The filter costs about maybe $5 or $8. And you have the most I would say blessed water. And that's the water that we people should drink. And on that note, I would add one more thing, that it takes time to hydrate your body. And most people, when they're gonna get our beautiful podcast, they will figure, oh, then we should drink, and now they will rush and will stop drinking and will start drinking cup after cup. They're gonna just pee everything out. So I want to people to understand that everything takes time, and also to provide proper hydration to your cells. It can take up to 6 months. So be patient, work slowly. And the
Right.
best way I describe is look when there is a summer, go outside, look at the soil outside. Everything is crusty. It's so dry, right? When we add the water doesn't even get into it. It just goes straight, flushes down, right? It takes time till the soil will start finally receive this water. So the same thing happens in our body. It takes time. So be patient, but the steam distilled water is the most wonderful water.
And you've said beautifully exactly why we talk about kidney health in the winter, right?
Right.
Right.
Right. Because it's dry.
Um, exactly. What about, let's talk about some of the diseases that can happen and you can incur during, while your kidneys are not working at their proper capacity. So some of the most common ones can be kidney stones. Sarah, why don't you name off a few?
Yeah, so I'll just go from experience too, because I've helped many people with some kidney related issues.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the first thing you want to ask is how much water are you drinking a day? And usually people are like, not enough, or they're drinking soda, or, they're just drinking too much coffee. They're in a dehydrated state. I think I was in a dehydrated state most of my life. We never really talked about that. So it's really important to stay hydrated. And like what Hava said, don't drink too much water because that dilutes all the minerals in your body. And sometimes I even suggest people add a little pinch of Himalayan sea salt and some lemon juice and give you some electrolytes, because that's a nice way to get your water and hold your water. But
Right.
Right.
the issues that I've come across a lot are cystitis. And cystitis is a side effect of a urinary tract infection that's, gone up into the kidneys and created irritation in the kidney. Excuse me. And that's just inflammation of the kidney. And so that's one issue. And I'll talk about kidney stones as well because I use basically the same remedy for both. And I've helped people pass kidney stones and they don't even feel it. And they think that that's crazy. And it's like, they're just like, I can't believe that happened. And then I see other people that are just suffering with a kidney stone. Come
Right.
in, drink some tea. So my most favorite kidney plants is marshmallow root. And what marshmallow root does is it's an anti-inflammatory for the kidney and for the bladder, for the whole urinary system, actually. It will reduce inflammation. You'll pass a stone with no problem. Usually, it depends on the size, right?
Right.
And I'm usually mixing a little bit of nettle with that because nettle will help increase filtration and excretion from the kidney. And the marshmallow root will reduce inflammation. And so if you have cystitis or a stone, it's going to help either one of those. So, and also we could add corn silk. And it's just like the stuff that you pick out of your corn on the cob that you don't eat. And as long as it's organic, you can actually save it and use it in tea. And it is a pretty powerful diuretic. So if you take too much of it, just like nettles, it can be drying. But at the right amount, and as long as you're still getting water as well as your tea, those three herbs help with so much in regards to the kidney. Um, and so, yeah, so those two issues, cystitis and kidney stones. And I've also helped people with kidney disease. So kidney disease is like, I think there's like 4 stages. 1, 2, 3A, 3B, and 4 is pretty much kidney failure. And we see a lot of this when people have type 2 diabetes, with people taking too much ibuprofen. Um, we see it with vaccine injury. There's several ways to get there. And my favorite, again, is nettle. And I actually use the nettle seed to
Nettle
help
seeds, yeah.
repair the kidney. So we can use the nettle seed to repair and still use the nettle leaf. And we can use the marshmallow root. The same, a lot of the same herbs can go in for that as well. So that's
Right.
3 issues right there that I've dealt with and helped people with. And their numbers improve, as far as the kidney disease. Their numbers improve. Yeah. So that's what I have to
Right.
say about that.
Pavo, do you want to add anything to that?
Oh, well, yes, I have also dealt with many kidney problems, and I also see a lot of problems in men's when they getting to at age 60, 70, and some even earlier, but prostate issues. Then I've dealt with many males who had an issue that suddenly they couldn't pass urine, and that's end up because they actually forgot to drink. They've been so busy. And I actually had recently a case. A mom called me of someone, and she's like, "Hava, my son cannot pass urine. He wants to go and it doesn't go. What should we do?" And he probably forgot to drink, but then when he drink, now he cannot go to the bathroom. I think it's such a horrible feeling when suddenly you cannot pass urine. So I did suggest that slowly hydration, and then I right away gave them a juniper berries. So there is another wonderful herb, and the story that I remember from Dr. Christopher that always said that we should have a juniper berries on hand at all times, and this is how they look. Now, if you see them.
Yeah.
They're absolutely delicious, and you can munch on those. They're so yummy. And
Here we get gin. It's yummy.
and I gave him a tea in a small quantities, like I suggested in a small quantity, like a quarter cup, and then another quarter cup, and then and also massage the area, and also do hot and cold hydrotherapy to bring a blood flow toward the area, and he was able to pass the urine. So it's important to have those herbs on hand, especially the one mentioned, like a nettle seeds and corn silk. Those herbs are really help you in times of need. And if when I do the class about, we should also class about again about how to stock up and how to build your own sanctuary. But one of the herbs that I mentioned is always also as well as juniper berries, because they really can help to void the urine if someone is suddenly having an issue. So that's the issue. That's the thing I had. Also, people with arthritis, the severe arthritis, I also prescribe juniper berries as well. They can munch on juniper berries. And then another issue that I stumbled is obviously prostate issues. And the prostate issue is because there is a calcification over there, and usually males have a dysfunction in that area. So that also can cause problem. And that's also because of the kidneys, because the kidneys are overworking. They cannot process so much toxic. We forgot to mention hot dogs and all the pastrami and all those stuff that actually can cause so much damage. And guess what? We have young kids who growing up eating pastrami on a weekly basis. So when they get to the age of 40, they probably will suffer a lot. And you know, and it's
because of all the citric acid that's used in preparing
so
that,
much
right?
preservatives, right? And then we have, even a week ago on my Go Healthy chat, we had the one mom who panically messaged that her son is passing having pain while he's urinating. See, even at the age, what it was, 9 or 10, I don't remember. So see, we're dealing with those issues, and that's because of our misunderstanding that the really kidney, we need to love and appreciate them, otherwise they will suffer. And yeah, so yeah.
Well, we
Okay,
can talk
so
about the energetics too.
yeah, I know we haven't done that in a long time. I want to talk
You
about the
just
energy.
mentioned, and Nicole like goes, oh
Let's
She's
talk
yeah,
about
like,
that.
yeah,
I know
but
people
that's
think
not
I'm like
that.
a hippie, happy-go-lucky type of girl, but listen, energy means a lot to me. And
just telling this,
just
and
do
you're
it.
like,
Go into
oh,
it.
I'm
I want the
here.
energy. I want to feel what you're saying.
Well, so of course, you know, every organ holds an emotion, right? It holds an
Right.
energy. And for kidneys, it's fear.
Mm.
And so that should also be part of, what insult can affect the kidney is fear. Because the adrenals sit on top of the kidney, right? The adrenal
Right.
glands and the kidneys are like sister organs. And the adrenals control that fight or flight response. And that's our stress response. And so if the adrenals are stressed out, so are the kidneys. And so that's kind of why we correlate the fear aspect to the kidney. And I can feel it in Reiki sessions. Actually, just today I did a really long session with one of my regulars, and she has a lot of fear. And so when I'm in the kidney area, I'm looking in my mind's eye, and for her, she has a throat chakra issue as well. So her fear is about the fear to speak. So there's something, and abandonment can do that to people. She was an orphan. And so when we fear speaking, it's because we don't want people to run the other direction and leave us, right? We don't want to be abandoned. So we're pleasing. Anything out of our mouth is, we're not saying as much as we want to say, right? So for that particular person, I felt the reflux, not only, it's the kidney in holding the fear, but the reflex to the throat chakra. So kidney is all about fear. And
Right.
that's in a nutshell.
That's in a nutshell. Well, then anybody that is, experiencing kidney issues or is on track for that, they should really focus on what is it that I'm fearing in my life, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What am
Yeah.
I so
And
scared
so,
of?
first and foremost, turn off that one-eyed idiot. Stop watching the news because it's fear porn, essentially.
Oh
And
gosh.
and who isn't in fight or flight response these days? It's just like there's so much stuff going on. I mean, we're getting hit in all directions, and a lot of the fear stuff is coming from the narratives out there in the news. It's like just turn it off, breathe, and ask yourself,
Is it worth watching?
right, is it worth watching, or what else
I
could I be
stopped
doing with my life?
watching. I stopped watching. I think it's one of the greatest like experiences I've had all year round. I stopped watching all of the news outlets. I don't look at any notifications on my phone. I'm hardly on social media. I don't know what's happening. People think I'm stupid sometimes. I'm like, oh, wow, that really happened, or I didn't know, or, but I'm really happy with myself for going
Yeah,
that direction because at the end of the day, I'm not constantly feeling like, oh my God. Well, we were just talking about this before we started our podcast, like what's going to happen in my children's future. Like I'm just living day by day
yeah,
right now. And that's okay also. You don't have to always be so connected in what's happening everywhere around you in different countries, in your country or whatever, in order to live your life. And I'm a perfect example of that because I haven't been doing that. And I'm living perfectly happily in this last year because I'm not so focused on what's happening all
right.
around me.
And
Um,
just to add to that too, as far as kidneys and fear, and surrounding yourself with the things that you love and the things that that actually fill you as opposed to take things and deplete you.
right,
The kidneys rest pretty much, if you know the chakra system. I think we should have a chakra class too, because the chakra system really kind of helps us relate this energy, right? And so the chakra that's near the kidney is the solar plexus. Well, that's your power center. That's your control center. It's just like it's that feeling that you get, that butterfly feeling you get, and whether it's excitement, whether it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen next, or that's your fear. That's kind of where the fear lives,
right.
or the happiness lives, right? It's our power center. So when our power center is affected, it's going to affect our kidneys. And if we're always in a fear state, those to the chakra, the solar plexus, and the kidneys are just like, and so is digestion right there too. Boom,
Boom, all of it. And
all of it.
obviously, if you're not digesting well. We've talked about this in every single podcast. So we want to make sure that people are paying attention that we keep circling back to digestion, right? um,
Excretory.
you're right. Because at the end of
Expectory.
the day, if the body's not doing a proper job at excreting fecal matter, right? And releasing those toxins, then the liver's overworked, then the kidneys are overworked, right? Because, like you mentioned in the beginning, if the liver is not able to process it, then it goes to the kidneys. And we have to first do that processing through the our colon and through the bowels. And in order to do that properly, we have to always make sure we're hydrated, right? We talked about this constantly, and make sure there's good circulation happening, a diet, exercise, don't overdo things. We've talked a lot about our bowel movement. So we want to make sure that our viewers are understanding the importance of bowel movements, right? Everything goes back to not releasing your
About.
bowels.
Yep.
Everything circles back to it. One of the first things we ask as herbalists and healers is, do you go to the bathroom? How often do you go to the bathroom? With every disease that we come across is, are you releasing those toxins? How are you doing it? How often are you doing it? What does it look like? People hate talking about this, but you need to vocalize it. It's okay to talk about poop. We need to talk about the poop. Um, it's Hava's favorite subject.
And urine. We need to talk about urine. We should talk
Right. We
about
need to
urine.
talk about urine, right? The color of the urine, the smell of the urine. Is it
All of it.
foggy? Those are also things that people don't realize. Like if you before you flush and you see some fogginess in there, you know that your kidneys are not doing a proper job. they're not filtering something.
Right.
You need to take care of that. What are some other herbs? I know we talked specifically disease related, but what are some other kidney supporting herbs? Is there anything else you ladies want to add on to kidney support?
Oh, tons.
Yeah, go for it. Let's hear it. I
Well,
want to hear it.
there's uva ursi, which is um also called uh bearberry. I think it's bearberry, is that right? That doesn't sound right. Uva ursi is a leaf
Uva
that we
ursi.
use for urinary tract infections or even kidney infections.
Right.
It's antiseptic, it's slightly diuretic, and it's alkaline, it's salty. So if if you just drink uva ursi tea, you actually can taste the salt in it. There's Pipsissewa. That's another plant that I really like for urinary tract infections and for urinary health. Cleavers is wonderful as well. I'm not going to name them all. I'll leave some for you, Hava.
Okay, the parsley root. The
Parsley is
root
lovely. Oh, yes.
yeah, yeah. The parsley root is very good, and also hydrangea root is very good.
For stone. Yeah, so if we're bringing
And gravel roots are also very good by removing the stones, right? Passing. And you can mix gravel with marshmallow root, like what was the same as a corn silk. So that way it also helps to breaking up the
More powerful. Yeah.
yeah. And on that note, I want to, what Sarah said in the beginning, it really makes sense when people start coming toward healthier diet, they do start include a lot of greens, especially kale and parsley and cilantro and many other things. And I do want to mention that you have to be very careful when you come to those greeny, delicious vegetables because well because they're not vegetable, they're vegetable. How we call parsley?
Yeah, leafy greens are vegetables.
Leafy greens.
It's an herb.
Goodness, Hava, come on. Okay, so but
You're like vegetables. Is it a vegetable?
Sound right?
Leafy greens are
leafy greens,
they're categorized as vegetables.
Parsley is more of a pot herb.
The parsley root is vegetable, but the tops, like what they're vegetable. Okay, fine. Sorry, people. Please understand. We speak a few languages here. Anyway, so the idea is that I do see this a lot, and people get excited, and they get into this excitement and take it too far. What does it mean? That means that now they are suddenly blending their delicious smoothies. So they pile up so much. They pile up from kale, spinach, apples, parsley, cilantro, carrots, and they're blending those and they're drinking this. That can cause too much toxicity. And not in a bad way, but in a way that your body is still not able to process so much. So I always suggest when you come to stuff like that, or even juicing, you have to leafy greens, juice them in a small amounts. Always have a larger amount of carrots and apples. First of all, keep it simple. All the smoothies and juices have to be very simple. Don't complicate the matter. People get excited, so they pile up a whole cup of parsley.
Their whole pantry and refrigerator goes in there.
It's like, let's shove it all in.
I know, right?
People.
And then they end up with the stomach, and they have a gas, and they also urinate and might have a pain. So that's, I would really want to suggest, whoever is now trying to get healthier, you have to be very careful by adding these greens. So when you, let's say, want to add parsley, I would suggest 1 teaspoon of parsley in the beginning, right? Or why not just to skip the parsley in the juice, but chop it on top of the salad, or adding them into your soup, stuff like that. Same thing comes to the cilantro. People get some people love cilantro, some people hate cilantro, but it's good to remove heavy metals. Oh, let's take a whole bunch, boom, brrr, they mix it and then drink it, and that's not good because it's such a strong detoxifier that can cause problems. So you have to be careful. And the same thing, I don't want to, mention the name of this big healer who sees mediums on whatever the hell the name he sees, I don't know, but I don't want to mention the name, not
No,
nice.
don't. No,
But
but I know what you're.
he is promoting drinking a celery juice, and probably now
Right.
everyone understands. And we have a people who are gobbling down celery
Right.
juice and in huge amounts,
I know it's
sometimes
ridiculous.
3-4 cups a day.
And
Celery is
it's so
diuretic.
aggressive. Right.
It's so aggressive because you didn't prepare your body yet. So why not to have a half cup of celery and let's have some apple juice, or some pineapple juice. Like, go slow and don't be one of those, because then we see the people who are suffering, who jump too fast into it and then having a problems. So whatever you do and whenever you get excited, always use common sense and listen to your own self, because you are not me and me are not Sarah, and we're all different. So for me, maybe a parsley is good in a salad, and for me, if, and someone else who wants to do detox, then just put a small amount. Start
Right.
experimenting first before jumping blindly because someone said something. So that's,
Yeah,
I really want
like
to
those
pinpoint this.
juicing trends, like right,
Right.
juicing diets.
I
It
just want to mention too, like with the celery juice. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
No, it's
please
Just
okay.
go ahead.
before I forget, menopause. Things go right out. They come right in, they go right out. Uh,
Please.
this celery juice. It's like, I mean, 32 ounces of celery juice is way too much for anybody on a
Ridiculous.
daily basis. And you definitely want to take it away from food because it will completely destroy your stomach acid. So then you won't digest your food. But what's also very concerning to me is that celery is in a family of herbs that we use for birth control. And we know that too much celery can drop your progesterone. So
Hmm.
then you're going to throw off all your hormones. And I've seen this happen. I had, the whole craze was going on. I had two students in my class at once doing all this celery juice. One had like all this acne all over her face. I'm like, honey, it's because you're drinking too much celery juice. I mean, yeah, celery is good, but obviously, like Hava was saying, it's like, everything in moderation. People read it in a book and think it's okay, I'll apply this to my life, where it's never a good idea. And when I'm in session with somebody and I have all, a consult and I have all these recommendations, I'm actually going through and discussing everything with them. And I know what they will do, what they won't do, because we're having that conversation. I know what their body is like. I know what they're sensitive to, what their allergies are, what their medications are.
Right. They're not a book. It's not a book that you
It's
can.
not like it's
Right.
not just one
We're
size fits
so
all.
individual.
That's
Right.
right. And then I'm even saying, okay, I've got all these suggestions for you. I want you to introduce them one at a time and give yourself a few days in between and see what works and what doesn't. It's
Right.
not all just this script that you can just
We
hand
can't go
someone.
into hyperdrive. Our body can't do that. We can't just it'll eventually attack itself, right? If we're shoveling good things like you both have mentioned, right? We're going on this juice cleanse, or we're doing we're taking all these herbs you recommended right away, like Hava mentioned in throughout this podcast, that she had a patient or a client that she introduced a quarter cup of that tea, of the juniper berry tea, because the body needs time to adjust to it. You can't attack, even if it's something good and healthy. You can't just shovel, 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 and then hope for the best, because the body won't know what to do and
Yeah,
won't be able to process it.
right.
Or you'll have a different reaction, like major acne, because the excretion of toxins, and your body's like, where do I take it out of? And it's leaving through your skin, and then you're like, but I'm so healthy, but I'm drinking so much celery juice, everybody's doing it. um
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
So
everything in moderation. Right, the slowly but surely you'll still win the race, and everybody's lifestyle is so different. That's why we've also told a lot of our listeners that even if you're someone that can't afford um, healthy meals, try to provide yourself something healthy once a week, and then try to go on to twice a week, cooking for yourself rather than picking out or getting takeout or picking up something at a drive through. everything in moderation so that you can, because what we're doing is teaching a people, it's a lifestyle change, right? You
It's
want to be
empowering.
able,
We're trying to empower people.
empowering people to know that they can change their lives for the better with using herbs, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
You can't just take everything that you know out of your house and that you've lived with and then expect for your body to react properly, even if you're feeding it the proper things. Um, I can give an example of myself that, when my healing journey started years and years ago, I slowly but surely started implementing things like removing certain oils from the house. And then a month later, I bought a more expensive salt. And then I bought better spices and herbs that were organic because I cook all the time. So I wasn't using stuff that was inorganic. And slowly but surely I started shopping directly with farmers at the farmers market, and then started implementing things in my family's lives that I wasn't taking everything all at once, especially with children. If anybody has young children, you can't just take everything away. You have to do it in moderation. So the same thing with adults. If you're someone that's an overdrinker, obviously that's not conducive of a healthy lifestyle, but don't just stop drinking all at once because your body's going to react to it. Drink less, introduce better, healthier things into your life. Um, that was my closing statement. If
Nice.
anybody else wants to, Hava, you usually have something wonderful to say at our end of our sessions. Do you want to say anything?
I mean, we're already coming to the end.
We
I
are. I
think we're
know.
just warming
We
up. I
go.
think. I don't know.
Well, no, our ending statements always last a few minutes more than
I'm
we,
just joking. Yeah.
No, we have a good 10
yeah.
minutes.
No, we
Well,
have 10 minutes, but I just, one
well, see,
person says one thing and then we jump and we're like, yeah, let's grab onto
right.
it.
Well, see, the idea of what we are doing in this podcast, the whole idea is to really empower people so they will be able to be in charge of their own health instead of listening to all these messages and then blindly implementing because someone said something. And it's really important for me to pass this, and that's why when I'm usually we suggest certain things, we give couple options, we give couple ideas, and we don't just stick you with one option. Like many people go to a doctor or go to a naturopath or whoever, and why we are different, I really want to put this out there. We're different because it's not that, oh, I have a problem, here, take the medicine, and then you take the medicine. You don't understand why you're taking this medicine, how much you're taking, how you feel. You basically bypassing all these important elements because you're just doing, and you paid money for someone to heal you. But in reality, what we're trying to do in this podcast is to give you the option, to all the listeners, to empower you so you become your own doctor. That's why when we suggest herbs, like Sarah suggested, marshmallow root, corn silk, or let's say uva ursi, why are we giving you so many suggestions? So when you stuck with the problem, you have it in your mind and you say, okay, so I remember I was in this podcast and they said that we should start slow amount of, let's say, juniper berries, because I remembered, because I cannot pass urine. So now you remember juniper berries. But then you remember, oh, but I have an issue here that I'm not voiding all my urine is a little bit, maybe, I don't know, yellowishy, or I have some maybe candida, whatever I'm passing. So I remember that we mentioned about uva ursi. So why not to try uva ursi? That's the beauty of it, that you become empowered now to try. And there is nothing wrong by munching a little bit on juniper berries and trying to see how it works with you, because now you become empowered, you become your own doctor. See, that's the whole idea. Is that's what we're trying to do here, is not just to give you, here, take solution. No, is to teach you why you have the problem and then give you couple solutions, so that way you will implement and you will play around. That's the beauty what we're trying to figure out here, and help people to really empower them, because otherwise it's just get a pill for the disease. It's not the purpose of a real educators, and that's what we're trying to pass here. And yeah, so that's my statement that I wanted to mention.
Love it. I love it. Sarah,
Yeah, I have a
how
lot.
would
I have a lot in my brain. Um,
you,
sometimes it comes
which,
out,
what
sometimes it
passed and
doesn't.
what didn't? What did the menopause like let you keep, right?
Oh my God. Uh, yeah, that's a whole different. Well, final thoughts are, yeah, we are trying to empower people. Um, but I also want to discourage people from just trying to self-medicate. It's like, oh, I think my kidneys need over Ursi. Well, it doesn't hurt to talk to somebody, just, bounce these ideas off. But I also try to really help people understand the imbalance that's going on, whether it's the kidney or the bladder or the liver or the gut. Understand what's happening, and that way we can really find herbs to match you and match the issue. As far as kidneys, my final statement just to leave people with is drink enough water.
Right.
Drink, and the saying goes, half your body weight in ounces is a general rule. It's not something that needs to get, you don't stick by it necessarily. But I know that since I've gotten older, I really dehydrate super easy, and then I get a headache, and then I get vertigo. And so vertigo is very much in line with dehydration. It takes a long time to hydrate your brain.
Right.
Um, and it's blood flow as well. But so for myself, I try to stay hydrated. I try to reduce any insults to my kidneys besides dehydration. So I'm watching out for oxalates, in my diet. I don't take ibuprofen unless it's absolutely necessary. And
Right.
I mean, that's few and far between. Um, I watch my blood sugar, so I'm not, going down the road of type 2 diabetes and having kidney disease that way. I
Right.
certainly don't get vaccinated because I'm not going to do, I mean, I have enough going on in my body. I can't imagine adding more toxins onto it. So I'm really trying to find the ways to keep my body healthy without having to intervene later on.
Right.
And just to share my story too, I have ongoing cystitis, that can be associated with mast cell issues, which I have. I'm not, at all concerned about sharing my health issues and health journey because we all have imbalances.
Right.
And the things that I know to stay away from that irritate my kidneys, certainly being dehydrated is one of them. Alcohol is another one. Um, and too much lemon, too much citrus, too much acidity. So
Right.
find out what your imbalance is, understand what that is, and then know how to intervene accordingly in a lifestyle way. So you don't have to know, oh, what are the herbs for this? Because now I'm in trouble. It's like, so empower yourself with how your body works. And if you do have an imbalance, understand what that imbalance is. And talk, kind of talk to somebody about, listen to podcasts like this about the herbs that you can use. But, matching, herbs and you to the problem is really helpful.
Right, it's a lifestyle change, like we've said numerous times. It's and about listening to your body, listening to
Yes.
those signs, not ignoring them. As always, for all of our viewers, anybody who is watching or listening, you can always get a consultation with either of you ladies. So if you want to visit their website, sarahsherbs.com or havawellness.com, you can book consultations, you can buy their products. We've always said it's really good to do things on your own, but it's also good to get guidance. Um, but if it's a problem that you have addressed with any of our beautiful herbalists, and you want to and it's something that is repeating itself and you've gotten that knowledge, then you do know, okay, then I can use this herb. This has worked in the past for me for this specific issue, or I need to change this about my life. I started drinking too much ever since, a years ago when I was treated by Hava or Sarah, let's say. And, the past couple of months I've been drinking heavy, alcohol wise. So you make those lifestyle changes. But what's beautiful about the consultations with these ladies, as you've heard before, is that they cater the treatment to you and your lifestyle to see what you're capable of, to see what kind of herbs, what kind of medications you are taking, if any, what herbs work with them, what won't work with it. So it's always really important to be guided by one of our wonderful healers, as well as either listen to this podcast, and they do have other sessions and classes that they do advertise either on their website, their Facebook. We do have our own, we have our brand new Facebook page for all of our followers. If you want to visit us, Heal Yourself Naturally, as well as we just started posting these on YouTube. So our podcast is also going on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify, on Vimeo still. So we want to be sure that everybody is listening, getting that knowledge that they need. And as always, we'll see you all next time on Heal Yourself Naturally. Thank you
Wait,
for.
wait,
Oh,
wait. I
I
want to
knew
say
it. I
something.
knew it. I knew you were saying something. It's always when I'm closing up. That's why I closed off early. Okay, all right, let's hear it.
Okay,
Let's hear
no,
it.
this is something as a final. It's just to help
Uh-huh.
you to close the
Okay.
the class.
Great.
This is something that Dr. Schultz once said, and I really want to say that life is not a dress rehearsal. This is a right now. You can choose to live it to the fullest or sit on the sidelines and watch it go by. That's it.
I love it. It's
And that
beautiful.
statement just, touches everything from mental health to, yeah. Basically, that's what healing is. We touch every little part of you, whether it's energy chakra, mental health. We've talked about plenty during all of our podcasts. Yeah. So thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time on Heal Yourself Naturally. We hope you're enjoying as much as we are. And yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye.